hello there.
Oh, perfect.
Is that other than the character spotlight thing? That's exactly what happens on Twitch when somebody like follows or does anything, and they're hello there. So it's really weird to hear that. All right, who are we doing tonight?
Well, we're talking about the bald dark side adept assassin, which is Asajj Ventress.
Asajj Ventress, one of my absolute favorite characters. She is awesome. She is a badass. And let's just jump into it. Asajj Ventress was born on the planet Dathomir, home of the Night Sisters, a clan of witches that use the Force in the form of magic. While Ventress was still an infant, she was given away to a slaver named Halstead. He brought her to Ratatak, where Ventress lived with him for several years and believed him to be a kind master. The truth was, he wanted her as a weapon. When Ventress was 6 years old, Halstead was killed, and that's where she would meet Jedi Knight Kai Nerek. Nerek was stranded on Ratatak and recognized her potential in the Force. He took her into his care, making her his Jedi Padawan. There, they would train together, alone for years until his death. Nerek was shot in the back and killed. The loss devastated Ventress, and she took up her fallen master's lightsaber and killed Nerek's murderers. After this, she embraced the dark side and waged a war of vengeance against these pirates and warlords that controlled Ratatak. During this time, she would eventually attract the attention of the noble Count Dooku, and he recruited Ventress to his side as a student and assassin. He still blamed the Jedi for abandoning Nerek on Ratatak, so she would join Dooku and kill Jedi and embrace the power offered by the Sith. When the Clone Wars started, Ventress became the commander of the Separatist military and an assassin in the ploy of the Sith. Her exploits brought her into conflict with the Jedi Order, and she became well known for her skill as she waged war against the Republic. As the war raged on, Dooku's master Darth Sidious became increasingly wary of Ventress's growing strength in the Force and ordered Dooku to eliminate his apprentice on the shore of loyalty. Dooku betrayed Ventress and ordered her own forces to execute her. Left for dead, Ventress survived and made her way back to the homeworld of Dathomir to seek revenge. Near the end of the Clone Wars, she encountered Quinlan Vos, a Jedi Master tasked with assassinating Count Dooku to end the war. They partnered under the guise of bounty hunters, and Ventress trained Vos in the dark side skills to prepare for a strike against Dooku, but their attempt to kill the Count failed. Ultimately, the two fell in love, and she would later sacrifice herself when Dooku attempted to kill Vos with Force lightning by absorbing the blast herself to protect Vos. Tonight, we discuss one of the most amazing characters in all of Star Wars, Asajj Ventress. Join us. All right, there she is, and I just want to say this jackass. The funny part was when I was re-listening to it, I was like, it kind of sounds like I'm saying Ratatouille. I actually thought that when I was listening back to it.
Ratatak.
Oh man.
Well, there she is. One badass.
I think that's pretty cool.
And I looked into it, and because we're gonna discuss. Wow, easy for me to say. We're gonna discuss a book. What was the name of that book?
Dooku Jedi Lost.
Yeah, Jedi Lost. It is a canon book, and because of that, they kind of retold her story, I guess, how her beginnings were, and yeah, and apparently the scene I'm about to show, which Jesus, let me tell you something. Disney, all praise belongs to you. I own none of these things. I'm just trying to share your magnificence. Disney, please be gentle. But this part that I'm going to show is actually apparently canon. Like, they pretty much pulled it from the original old school Clone Wars, and this is basically how it is. So we'll look at it real quick.
And I sense much fear in you.
You are a foolish old man who knows nothing of the dark side.
Indeed.
Yeah, like,
I love that cut. Where
down to the fact that she called him a foolish old man. He lit her up with lightning. She passed out, woke up, and then he explained to her, I guess they had a little bit of a fight. He explained to her what he wanted from her, and she agreed. Like, that's actually the first time those two met, just like that.
It turned like
I used to have a first appearance, but I sold on eBay because I want money. Also because you're a jerk. Because you never offered it to me. So obviously you are also a jerk.
Now looking at like when you look at first appearances for these characters, like you have Ahsoka's is ridiculous, but Asajj Ventress appearance has gone up too, especially the variants. You'll see, it's pretty ridiculous.
It's all ridiculous, but it's fine. Like, at least people are enjoying Star Wars.
Until you get it, it's ridiculous, and then you're
like, "Hey, Fat Sack, what's happening? How you doing, man?"
It's wild.
It's all ridiculous. Every second of the Star Wars comic book ridiculousness is annoying, but what are you gonna do? All right. So before I forget, because I always kind of forget, I do have this. I will show it really quick. This is
no way.
I clearly have. I saw the lightsabers, but like I always say, they're always put away. The boys can't find them. So I do have that. It's pretty awesome.
That's the Clone Wars, like the 3D
series
based off of.
I don't have that one. I had it in my cart last night. I was going to buy it because it came with that. And what's that bounty hunter's name? The guy that can cut his arms off and they grow back. Dirge. Oh. I had both of them in the cart, and they were a pretty decent price. And I hesitated because it's Christmas. I started feeling guilty. Like, don't buy yourself something. Don't buy yourself something. And I lost it. They buyed it. Well, somebody else bought it.
The trick is you leave it in the Amazon cart so that they accidentally buy it when they're.
Oh, you can't buy those on Amazon anymore. How do you do all eBay? Somebody bought it though. Poor Mike! Holy crap! The legend is here. The legend is here.
Yeah.
All right. So the only issue I would have is they did pretty decent with Asajj Ventress in the Clone Wars. They did okay. They didn't destroy her as much as they did some of the other characters, but I still feel like they kind of meandered. Right? Sometimes she was like unstoppable. And then sometimes she was running for her life. So, they did a great job. But I was going to say, I was going to get on my soapbox. I was saying this in the Discord. I would get on my soapbox about the Clone Wars. To me, the character Asajj Ventress is why Clone Wars is top Star Wars, in my opinion. Because they made characters like Asajj Ventress. And if you think about even, Ahsoka and all these other cool characters they made in the thing, if you take those out, like, I don't want to say that what is it? 1, 2, 3, I guess technically are boring, but it's basically Kenobi and his daddy running around, kind of doing Star Wars stuff. And then when you take it to like, I know cartoons are way easier, but when you say how much like well-rounded those the Clone Wars cartoon made that whole story, and like half the story that people know about the movies actually came from the cartoons. I feel like this character is exactly the reason why the Clone Wars to me is amazing. Is my favorite part of Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure. Especially where this character, before the 3D one, it was just the appearance of the 2D, supposed death, and they brought her in the comics as a side villain, pops in and out, does some stuff, and then eventually she lives, and then she dies, and lives again, and that's it. You don't hear much about her. That she's a pretty cool villain, basically kind of side noted until the 3D Clone Wars, where they evolved her more and they gave her more of a life outside of Dooku and with more of the Dathomir stuff, which made it more interesting.
She was more of just a crazy banshee, like
basically
the original one. And what I did like about it is that I feel like they had a plan, which is because of who wrote it, obviously, because that's the only person in all of Star Wars right now that has a plan, apparently. But they had a plan with her from the beginning because they made her tell a story, right? Where like she wanted to be good, but shit kept happening. She was a night sister. They gave her away, and then she thought her original master was nice. Then she finds out later, no, that he was just on the side training her to be a weapon that he was going to use against her later. Then you find out in that book that she thought the Jedi abandoned her master. You find out that he did something wrong, and he actually self-imposed exile and ran from the Jedi Order. And you find out that he's actually the one that killed her original master. And all this time she's getting abandoned. Then Count Dooku turns on her because he's trying to, listen to what his boss says, and everybody turns on her all the time. And she's like, just tired of being
punching
turned on.
for everyone, yeah.
Yeah, and she just gets sick of it, and then she just starts murdering everybody. So that's fine.
I'll go my own way.
Understandable rage.
I allow a lot of stuff that you do, but the Count Dooku, we're gonna have to put a stop to that because that man is amazing. Did you not see that cartoon where he was like, indeed, that's what makes Count Dooku amazing.
You know, I know this is going to sound real rookie of me, but I did not realize until looking into her a little bit more that she was the same species as Maul.
Yeah, they're the female version. They're the bosses in their world.
Yeah. Which is
I thought
funny
that was
because
pretty cool.
they just it's supposed to be the same way as how with
Chris.
oh my god.
Wow.
Their species is more like how cows and bulls, where the males have the horns and the cows don't have anything.
Yeah, and that does bring me, and I will show it. There is a character that like I feel like they could have done more, and they didn't really do him justice, and that was Savage.
All I think of when I hear Savage is brother.
Yeah. They kind of made him pretty one-dimensional, but whenever Count Dooku turned on her, she went back home and said, I want to murder this guy. They were down. So they basically gave her a weak male because they're weak, and they induced him with, yeah, they induced him with magical powers, and he became super buff. They gave him the steroids, basically.
They gave the space steroids.
Even grew his horns out. I remember that his horns got super long. I was like, that's weird. And then I had a request last minute. Nothing like requesting it last week. This is kind of why I said I don't take requests. And so we had this moment, which I'm assuming this is the moment you're talking about, Kachung, where
you requested.
Kenobi's pretending to be knocked out. He is not knocked out. He's pretending to be because Kenobi does not get knocked out. And he lost track of his lightsaber. So this is Savage Ventress. What happened was he was kind of being manipulated, obviously. He found his brother, we find out that even though you're cut in half in Star Wars, that does not necessarily mean you die. And him and his brother Darth Maul teamed up, and they were running wreckshop with everybody, becoming pirates and all kinds of stuff. And here's an awesome clip.
The Witch and the Jedi. Here for our taking.
I want that back.
That's fine. Red's not my color. Ready?
Like you even had to ask.
I love that.
That fight goes on for a lot longer.
So I was gonna say,
I'm already picturing my luck with Disney as it is.
I know what you mean when you really beg them for.
Yeah, and awesome. Again, that is not that I did not make that. That does not belong to me. It is the property of Disney and all things Disney.
How does it feel when you have two favorite characters of yours there talking, and one of the lines that she says to Kenobi is "Don't flatter yourself, Kenobi. You've never been much to look at."
What? I didn't put that in that clip. Why did you bring that up? That was not even.
I noticed you cut that part out.
You damn right I did. Or whenever she starts slapping him, he's passed out. Not passed out, pretending to be passed out. And she starts slapping him, saying, "Come on, did somebody finally knock the fight out of you? Get up!" Like that was actually pretty good too.
I love that. That's the episode Revenge. It's called season 4.
It is.
And how much force, power in that small space would there be?
That'll get you your first warning. That's about to get you timed right out. I realize how corny that was.
He does bring out his blue one later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. That was probably if that was like a real, if this whole world was real and you had all those people in that little bitty cargo hold, like I don't even know how anybody could have came out of that alive. That's pretty crazy.
It's like a slaughterhouse in there.
But anyway, at the end of that fight, they realize there's no chance they're going to have, so they actually run, and that was kind of another start to Ventress, where she's kind of helping the Jedi, which is, it's to her own gain. But
how do you feel about that, though? Like they thought that they weren't gonna win against Maul. You're talking Kenobi. And Ventress.
Well,
how do you
know,
feel? Let me see. Let me get that tear.
I don't even know what to say because what am I gonna say? Like Kenobi, and then I'll be talking trash to Ventress, and then as Ventress, I'll be talking. I don't know. It was a plot point. I'm sure Kenobi had a plan. He was backtracking, wanted to see what was going on in the world because they had all those. I don't know. They had a weird situation with Darth Maul though because they had Darth Maul. They kind of put their foot in it by bringing him back a little bit, in my opinion, because they really didn't know. It kind of seemed like they really didn't know what they wanted to do. So they started letting them take over like every pirate business in the world, and then it's like
the mafia
all these
of
fights.
Star Wars.
Yeah. So after this, she kind of goes into the world of
The
bounty
underworld,
hunting.
bounty hunting, and
Right.
I really like her costume design when she goes into her bounty hunter.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's
I did not get those clips because I ran out of time.
I got a screenshot.
Yeah, we can do that.
I think. Oh, kind of.
He definitely is giving me some Seattle vibes for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, I love that part. I love that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, she teams up with Ahsoka.
If that picture doesn't show you, she's teaming up with her.
Right.
The issue that I have with Ahsoka, I know we're not talking about Ahsoka, but it's them together. I feel like if you watch the Clone Wars, especially if you're doing stuff like we do, where we
go through a lot of it.
Down. Yeah. At the end, they realized what they had with Ahsoka, and they almost started like forcing her into stories that didn't make sense. So almost anytime somebody was like on the edges and they need to team up, Ahsoka would run into them randomly and be like, "Oh, hey, I'll hang out with you for a while." Like it was just kind of like, all right, Ahsoka. But so she teamed up with the old Boba Fett, was running with him for a minute.
Well, the young Boba Fett.
Yeah, and then it was the young one, and it was that famous like train scene where everybody in the whole world is there. She finds out that their cargo is a lady,
and your one and only Dengar appearance in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, and she finds out that the shipment is a girl that has been kidnapped to be sold off, and she don't like that, so she puts Boba Fett in the chest and runs off with the girl, and at the end of the day, still gets the money. So she got the girl in the money, and everyone left mad.
She did what everyone wanted to do.
But yeah, so the whole reason why the yellow guy, we'll call him Savage, the yellow Darth Maul, the reason why he exists is because from this point forward, she doesn't want to pretty much do nothing but kill Dooku. She's ready to get some murder on. And that's what brings her into who we talked about last week, which was, who was this guy?
Quinlan Vos?
Yep, Mr. Vos. And did you guys ever read that book that I told you to read? Did you do the homework assignment? No? Interesting.
When do we have time to read?
You surely don't read comic books, bro. That's for sure.
Try.
But that's kind of where they kind of end that whole story arc of hers, right? Where, I mean, literally and figuratively, where you find out that she just is the way she is because everybody always turns on her and abandons her. And she finally found somebody who's like, listen, I'm down. Like, we'll leave all this behind and go have super powered babies somewhere if you want. Like, I'm down.
I'll even tattoo them myself.
And it was funny because it gets pretty deep in the book because she's the only one that sees that he's turned to the dark side, and is basically begging anybody to listen to her, and nobody will listen to her. And at the end comes no, she grows hair again.
She grows it back. It returns.
Grows it back. When she gets a boyfriend, she grows her hair out. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. And then so there's like one last try to kill old Count Dooku. He gives them the death lightning, and she jumps in front to save her love and dies, unfortunately.
Which is interesting because I completely forgot. Like once we talked about Quinlan, I forgot about that. That's what happened in the book. That she actually dies definitively.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they have that written for Clone Wars?
It was originally a Clone Wars storyline. They didn't because the show got canceled, and then they put it into the book format.
Yeah, the book is basically the actual story from the Clone Wars. It's like a 6-story arc that they just made into the book. I mean, I'm sure they added some more stuff to get the book because the book's pretty thick.
Because you have to use script and you have to do the filler. So,
but she probably didn't die.
According to the book, she did. But again, maybe she'll just
and she'll show up in Book of Boba Fett Boba Fett will get mad because he's like, "You kicked me in the chest, put me in a box."
I didn't forget. He pulls the chest out, he wheels it out, and Salacious Crumb's dragging the thing in the room.
But you know what I was thinking? Just because of how well written her story arc is, of all the characters we've done so far, other than obvious ones, that we've done, to me, she's the one that I would really like to. I think a movie of her would come really easily because I think it would be a very interesting and cool movie if they just made a movie about her and told her story. I think it would be awesome. Like, I think it'd be a great movie.
Now, would you just be a general retelling of the events through the Clone Wars, condensed, and then?
I would hope so. Just her life story. I think it is to be like her life story, and I would hope that they would. I mean, they're going to do something stupid because they're Disney and Star Wars. But I mean, I'm sorry, you guys do everything amazing. I apologize.
Well, I was going to say, I remembered actually. This is before I realized that she had died in the book. Obviously, who knows? But remember when they had the Kenobi announcement and they had the list of actors? They didn't show the roles they were playing, and it was I can't remember her name, but she was the Martell princess from Game of Thrones, the one who's
okay,
yeah. She looks, if you just, her hair is shorter already to begin with. If you just basically shaved it, she looks like essentially like Ventress. Has the same sounding accent. So I thought that basically they were going to go with that, or at the very least a flashback kind of thing.
I mean, they could do a super. I mean, they
do flashbacks. I mean, they have a flashback of him and Anakin in the Clone Wars. Having someone there as him fighting would make more sense.
I mean, they're pretty famous for bringing an actor to do like one smoky scene that's a flashback where she walks in bald-headed, super white, pale, and two lightsabers light up at once, and then they go back to something else again and make the whole world lose their mind, and people go on YouTube and make 100 videos about what it means for the future, and then you never hear about this again.
Well, this is my take.
I see some hair follicles on her head.
My take is, and you may want to pull up Yoda, I think Acolyte, because she was an Acolyte, there could be a sequel. And they could just make a story on the Acolyte, which is set quite a long time ago, right?
It's set just before Phantom Menace.
Okay.
The end of the High Republic leading into that.
Could probably just, work her into a sequel.
I'm okay with that.
From that.
Like I said, I think that's a great story. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It's a tragedy. It's awesome. It could be. I think it could make a really good movie, and I would like to see it. It's not spec talk, but it doesn't matter because you're already soldiers. Can we just point out twice, like 2 or 3 times in this whole story, this whole thing, he has talked about awesome Star Wars books. He supposedly has a friend. I'm supposedly a friend. I don't know. Maybe I'm clearly not after this. Not one of these were ever offered to me. He never said, "Hey, I'm going to put this on eBay. Did you want to?" I didn't say you have to give me a discount, but he didn't even offer it. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. You see this? I don't know what this is. I don't know what he did. And comics. Okay, here we go. Take it away.
So the list of the comic appearances. So on the left, you have Legends. So her first appearance is in a one-shot of Mace Windu. As simple as that. And then she reappears in Republic. This is Republic series. Shows up in many arcs and mostly involved with Quinlan Vos. And then near the end of that, so it concludes lowly with her dying, and then in Obsession, it basically retcons the death from the 2003 Clone Wars, and leads to Kenobi obsessing that she's not dead, that she's still alive and running around. And then that leads to her dying and living again, and so on and so forth. After that, they also get the 3D Clone Wars is the comic series that ran with it. Issue 5 and 6 retcons that again and follows the 2008 canon lore line, and then continues in the other issues of that series. After that, in canon, she's only appeared in a couple of comics. Basically, the first appearance again is in another Mace Windu comic, and it's a cameo appearance in Imagination. And then, technically speaking, her first canon appearance is in the Battle Tales, the IDW Adventures comics, as well as her first cover appearance being an Age of the Republic special #1 with some variant covers, and her first solo story. That's the Cliff Notes.
So what's the must have?
This one here. This is the must have for first appearance, first involved one, and obviously gorgeous art in this one. So yeah, it's basically her being trained with Dooku. It's so good. And Dooku sets her out onto some unsuspecting Jedi, such as Mace Windu. And then one of the earliest things we talked about, if you want to get into detail about this awesome comic,
they sure are pretty.
Dirge to fight on Anakin and Obi-Wan, and
yeah.
Great story.
This is pretty badass right here. This whole them walking up together like that. That's pretty badass.
Mm-hmm. And then that continues on issue-wise, and then issue 60 is the origin of Ventress. So this is the origin that talked about in the intro with the Jedi, basically her Jedi Master. That was self-inflicted exile. Yeah, self-inflicted exile and such. And then leading into obsession. Ignore Obi-Wan's face. And obsession #4.
He's got a mask on. That's not really him.
Yeah,
his mask. He's a robot.
Obi-2 Kenobi finds Asajj Ventress alive, and she did not die in the 2003. She was kept in the back of the tank and has been basically used like a Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
You keep your Marvel out of this, sir.
Yeah. So at the end of that, so she basically kind of fakes her death and manages to escape into a Republic craft, and then goes on her own way. And we don't actually see where she goes again after this moment. So
that's where isn't that where Dirge dies? Is that one? Obsession.
No, this.
Oh, got them mixed up.
No, it is. It is the very beginning. Dirge dies in the beginning. Yeah, sorry, he dies in the first 2 issues of this one. But yeah, so she goes off, and then now this is when we see her in the Clone Wars, 3D animated one. So the adaptation. And her first cover appearance, her first cover appearance was earlier.
Sure would like to have these comics, you bunch of jerks in the world right now.
Yeah, sorry, these ones are all ridiculously expensive for some reason.
I had to get that out. I apologize.
What number was that? Number 3?
The other one?
Clone Wars.
Number
5, was it?
5.
5, I think.
Right. Yeah. And now, this is interesting. Her first appearance in canon is, again, another Mace Windu comic. It's the last
weird.
issue. Yeah, it's pretty funny how weird that lined up. And it's the final issue in his miniseries, which you see her in that last panel, or with an imagination scene and some very strange and bad art.
Who's the young gentleman here? Who's that?
That is Peter Amidala.
It looks like Ahsoka's holding a really long red lightsaber.
So it continues on through.
Really
but
weird.
yeah, no, pretty bad. So then this is her first actual full appearance in canon comics, is the Clone Wars Battle Tales from IDW.
I actually like the art in this because it reminds me of that original Clone Wars. Yeah. IDW is always pulling some shenanigans in the background. You got to keep your eye on IDW.
So yeah, basically that one was her first canon full appearance showing up. And then she follows up with her first cover appearance in the Age of Republic special, and a much more, much more involved story. Basically, continuing off with what she was doing in the Clone Wars.
The art in that was really good.
Very good art, and it gives a brief overview of kind of her story with the Night Sisters being killed by Grievous, which you didn't see properly.
We'll have to have that discussion at some point because it's just weird. But okay.
Jar Jar.
Hey, there he is. Over the shoulder too. All right. So what are these? Just
those two are
variants.
Yeah, variant covers. So the one on the right was the these that Starship variant, and then the one on the left is the really expensive one, which is the one that everyone goes to when they get this comic, apparently.
Which is cool, but I kind of actually like these guys mess it up, but I kind of actually like her.
Well, you don't like Jar Jar looming over the back?
Well, he is a Sith, so he deserves to be there.
And then, that's the list of her appearances in the Clone Wars. The top is the 2003, with 2008 following. And she appears mostly in the latter seasons, but she shows up in the first season for basically 3 episodes.
That season 4 run is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the one with the Darth Maul and Savage.
With Maul, yeah.
And the last one's with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I'm looking for this. I have not received it yet. I will be purchasing you at some point.
Huh.
I was going to say...
for the kids.
For the kids, of course. Yeah.
So that one would be the first action figure of her, based on the 2003, obviously. Yeah, simple as that. And then the 2 books, Dark Disciple and Jedi Lost. Most we talked about. Those are just the covers to them.
If she's one of your favorite characters, these are pretty much the 2 books you need to read if you want to canon. Because this retells how she became who she is, and this tells of her last few years on the world or in the universe. Well, yeah, that's it. That's one of my favorite characters. She is awesome. And this will be this is the first episode that I'm going to try to edit down so that way people can watch it. It's only 30 minutes instead of an hour. So the second part will go into our Star Wars news and
new
fun stuff. So let's start the second part